How's it hanging, YouTube? It's Peter here from Triple G Comics. Welcome back. Today I'm joined by my good friend Ephraim, and we're going to talk about our favourite comic book characters. Hi Ephraim, how are you doing?
Hey Peter, how's it going over there?
Brilliant, mate. Not so bad. So this video is in kind of response to a video you did on your channel a little while ago, in which we talked about our least favourite characters. So if people haven't seen that, I would really recommend you go and check out Past Point One Comics and have a look at the videos on that page. So Ephraim, on that video, we picked characters that were perhaps not particularly keen on for various reasons. They were our personal choices, and it generated quite a bit of interest and discussion, I think. So on this video, we're going to focus instead on characters we really like, and we've each picked 5 of them. Is that right?
That's correct, Peter. 5. It was hard. Just 5 characters. There's thousands of them, but
I found it really hard. I have to say, Ephraim, and we've talked before about how both of us, I think, have perhaps drifted away from Marvel and DC over recent years. But I have to say, a lot of my characters are Marvel DC from back when I really enjoyed reading comic books, maybe 15 years ago.
Yep.
So I think we could have done a list of top 50 characters, I think. But,
for sure. We may come back like in a couple of months and do another top 5.
Yeah.
Just top 5 good and top 5 worst or whatever. It's hard. Just picking.
Yeah, and I guess, just thinking about future, we could probably do team-based, top 5 Avengers, top 5 X-Men, villains, love a good villain, look at
that's
that.
good.
But before we start with that, Ephraim, I did want to show you this. We did another video, again, I think it was on your channel, about favourite storylines, and you mentioned this to me.
Oh, yes.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I love it, Ephraim.
Right.
Love it. I'm so pleased you mentioned it. I've trade 1 and 2, and I know there's a trade 3 out there. I'm almost finished trade 2 now. I will be doing a review of this on my channel at some point. It's superb. And I think, you talked about it and you said you love the series. One of the things for me is I love a vampire story. I love a bit gore. There's some great gruesome gore in here. But I love the relationship between the father and the son in it.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous read. So I wanted to thank you for recommending this. And I recommend other people read it. It's brilliant.
Cool.
Right. So I'm going to get rid of the border and I'm going to put a little presentation up. Like I said, we're looking at top 5 characters. And like we've already said, incredibly challenging to pick those 5 characters. But I think we've given it a good stab. The way we'll do it, Ephraim, if it's all right with you, is I'll put 2 of your characters up, then 2 of my characters, and we'll just each chat about them for a little bit.
Sounds good.
So we'll start off with 2 of your favorites.
Okay, I had to pick these 2 because they're street level heroes. And you know how I always love these street level heroes like Hawkeye and Daredevil, so to speak of. Daredevil specifically, this last 12 issues, whenever he's been incarcerated, I think for manslaughter, and Elektra took his place as the protector of Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, and I just love his character and the way Elektra starts portraying Daredevil now. I mean, his faith is what always gets to me. I mentioned this before in the past when Null came around. He was the one character who basically couldn't be nullified. His faith was so strong that he overtook Null. He says, "You're not getting me. Not this time." And even Captain America failed. He became nullified.
Yeah.
And that shook him to his foundation. It took Falcon and Winter Soldier to bring him back. But Daredevil, his whole storyline that I think he just got out recently from jail and is going to be continuing. I think there's a new series coming on. It's called Devil's Reign. Yeah. By Kingpin is going to be there's going to be like war on superheroes in New York City. And I'm assuming Daredevil is going to be a lead person on this one. And Elektra, she's going to have her own miniseries too for Daredevil. But I just love Matt Murdock. Yeah. He just, to me, is just like, God, the man's blind, first of all. And he's doing all that. It's crazy.
Have you got a favorite story arc? Because I mean, I've read some Daredevil. I haven't read lots and lots. I read some of the classic Frank Miller stuff, but I also really enjoyed the Kevin Smith arc from a few years back.
So my favorite storyline right now is the one that's happening. He was incarcerated, but before that is the Frank Miller run with Bullseye and Elektra. When Elektra got killed, that whole storyline went, God, what a great storyline. Some of these books, they're not under the radar, so to speak, or characters, but this, I think this character should be more in the forefront. You know,
I agree. He's one of those classic Marvel characters, and
yeah.
You know, some of his books now are going for big money. I've picked up a Daredevil 1 a while back, and it's a pricey book now
Wow.
to try and get your hands on. And I see Kevin Feige made a comment this week about the actor Charlie. Is it Charlie Cox?
Yeah, Charlie Cox. Yes.
Yeah, Charlie Cox will be Daredevil in the MCU kind of thing. So he's kind of confirmed that now.
I'm curious to see if he's going to show up in the Spider-Man movie as his lawyer.
Yeah. Marvel's very, I mean, we know this already. Marvel is super precise with their timing. I don't think they leave anything to chance. You know, they hinted, spoiler warning for anybody watching, they've hinted at Kingpin in the Hawkeye TV show. I really wouldn't be surprised if the rumors are true that it's Matt Murdock supporting Peter in the new movie coming out. I'd love that.
My second street level character, again, the second one is Hawkeye. I've always liked it, even before the series, even before he came out on the Avengers movies. I've always liked his character because he's just a normal guy. Picked up a bow and arrow, no superpowers, you know, and he's just a guy with a bow and arrow who wants to do things right. Even though I've been reading his series from, I think, 2012 when he was with Lucky the dog that's based on this movie.
Yeah,
he's had so many concussions. How can he be straight?
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, Hawkeye's a really interesting one because the main time I remember Hawkeye was when he was in the Thunderbolts, and I think he led the Thunderbolts for a while.
Correct.
But he never really, I don't think, got the limelight that he deserved. And then this Matt Fraction series came out, and it's a tremendous read. I mean, it really is a superb story, and I'm loving. For all he's not a character that I was particularly invested in during the Avengers movies, I am absolutely loving the Hawkeye Disney Plus show. In fact, I think it's probably my favorite Disney Plus show at the moment. Yeah. Have you been watching that, Ephraim?
Oh yes, I haven't seen the last episode, but I've been watching it. I really like it a lot. I mean, there have been some people complaining about it. I'm going, this is all fantasy, and just enjoy yourselves. You know, as kids, we probably never thought we would see this happening.
Yeah,
you know, coming out on movies and TV shows. So, you know, some like him, some don't. I just think, man, I'm just there for the enjoyment of it all. You know, it's great seeing these characters out of the movies, you know, like in real life, you know, like living in New York City or being in New York City for this series.
Yeah. I find, you know, I mean, you mentioned it there kind of. I find that us fans are becoming super critical of Marvel movies and TV. And it's almost at the point of, what do they have to do to please you, you know?
Yeah.
Because we pick stuff apart, don't we? To the nth degree, or so some of we do. Like I say, I'm not previously been that invested in Hawkeye, but I love the show. I have to say, I think is it Jeremy Renner, the actor?
Jeremy Remy,
yeah. Again, wasn't particularly bothered about him in the Avengers movies, but in this series, he's absolutely superb. And he's playing the wounded father bit superbly.
Yeah,
I love it.
One more thing about Hawkeye, I'm not sure if you remember that he killed the Hulk, right?
Yeah,
he shot him in the eye, you know, before Immortal Hulk came out. Because he said, if something ever happens to me, they were talking. He goes, I want you to kill me, and he did.
Yeah, was that Civil War 2?
I think so. Yeah. It was before Immortal Hulk came out, so that's been out for a few years now. But he killed him, so you know, my kind of guy.
Yeah, tremendous. Yeah. Two good picks there from. I like both of those. Oh, well, next slide. I would hope you know these two.
Yes.
So, on your show, we talked about characters we didn't like, and I put the Flash up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting them on this list as well as characters I do like. So, this image is Wally West. So, this is my Flash, not boring Barry Allen.
Yeah.
This is the Wally West era of kind of Flash. And I just love this storyline. I remember getting into Flash after Crisis on Infinite Earths when he took over the mantle. And then he had that original series, and I picked up every issue of that and loved it. But he really hit his stride for me when Mark Waid started writing them. And you got things like the Terminal Velocity storyline, and they started to, well, that's when they kind of invested in the Speed Force and all that kind of stuff. And I just loved it. I loved the story background of his life with Linda, and then when they had the kids later on and all the rest of it. Yeah, I just think a tremendous character. Really enjoyed him. And it's a bit of a tragedy where he's getting to these days, I think. Totally replaced again by Barry, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah. I've always liked the Flash too, Wally West. I mean, I like these characters who have faults.
Yeah.
You know, who are like Daredevil, Hawkeye, you know, Wally West are more, you can relate to them because they have human problems like anybody else.
That's right. That's
and
right.
He went through the ringer, you know, losing his wife and his kids and everything.
Yeah.
Like, dang, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I would really encourage people to go back and read some of the Mark Waid storyline, because it's kind of just accepted now, the whole Speed Force thing. But when it first came out, it was incredible. You know, it was really a massive change to the Flash's character. And at one point, he was wearing suits made purely of Speed Force and things. And it's just brilliant. I love it. Next one should be no surprise to anybody that watches any of my videos is Thor. I just always been a favorite character of mine. I can't tell you why. I just really enjoy the character. I like the Marvel Universe version, but I much prefer my comic book version. I like the Shakespearean kind of speech.
Mm-hmm.
That scene I've put up there, I don't know if you've read that particular comic. It's from one of the early Avengers issues where they're basically taking on Ultron, and Ultron's beating them completely. And I just love that scene. You know, Ultron, we would have words with thee. I just think it's tremendous. Yeah, I like them. I like the fantasy element of Thor. I like the kind of I love it when they're back on Asgard and you're looking at all the kind of the mythology attached to it. Love his power set. I just think he's a tremendous character. Now, I've not read much of the current Thor run, so I'm waiting for that to come out in like an omnibus or something like that, because I've heard that's really good as well. So yeah, looking forward to reading that. You a fan of Thor?
Oh yeah, I've been a fan of the Avengers from the beginning. Me and my friends, when we were small, not small, but we were teenagers, we bought an Avengers #1 together. Wow. I have no idea what happened to it. I don't know who kept it somewhere, is it? You know, so but what do you think of Jane Foster when she was Thor for a while?
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that, and I like the storyline. They've tried replacing Thor on a number of occasions, haven't they? Beta Ray Bill as well, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I thought they handled her character quite well. I'm really intrigued to see how they pack, or if they even try and pack all of that story into the new Thor movie. That's going to be a challenge, I think, if they want to do it well, in my mind.
One thing that I liked when Jane Foster was Thor, she had more control of Mjolnir than Thor did. You know, like she made that hammer do things that he never did.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's a stretch. I mean, that's a twist. I was like, I like that. You know,
actually, it's interesting you're saying that, because I've put Thor up here, and this is a character that I think most people won't probably know of, but when I really got into Thor was when he'd been replaced by Eric Matheson.
Yeah.
And Eric wore a version of Thor's costume, but then later became a character called Thunderstrike.
Yes.
I loved Thunderstrike.
So did I.
Loved the comics.
I didn't think they gave him enough props. His son is Thunderstrike now.
That's right. Yeah.
But that era, a lot of people didn't like when he was Thor. I liked it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think at the time we had Operation Galactic Storm in the Avengers books, and he was prominent in that. But yeah, I loved that character. So yeah, Thor's a big key character for me.
Yep, good choices.
Your next two are interesting.
Yeah, I just, you know, like there's so many. The history of comic books, you know, like from the 1950s and before. There's so many characters, but I wanted to pick a couple that were more recent. And the We Live characters, which were Tala, Hototo, and Humbo. If everybody has not read We Live, you're missing out.
I haven't read it.
Oh my God, Peter! It's a gorgeous book. The color work, the artistry of it. I interviewed them on my YouTube channel, and that was a blast. Just talking to them. I think they're in Spain, if I remember right, or Portugal. I forgot exactly where they're at. But it was only 5 issues long, and the new issues are gonna be coming out in March. There's gonna be a continuation. Like it's like 5 or 7 years since this event happened.
Right.
And it just the perils of the sister and the little boy. She's got to save his life, and she's taking him to like this place where he's going to be able to live a normal life, so to speak, and just going through basically from one part of the United States to the other, and all these mutated creatures, as you can see in this cover, also that there's around now. The world is in the dumps. Everything's just crazy. Radiation, just mutation, and it just shows the the parallelness of him and his sister just going through and trying to get his brother to safety. And it's also a brother-sister bonding, to me, book too. How much they care for each other.
Yeah. I'll pick it up. I have a copy of issue number 1.
Yeah.
But I'll pick up the trade paperback and have a good read of that one. I think it looks my kind of book.
Yeah. The minute I read the first book, I went, oh my gosh, I love this series.
Yeah.
And they have music to it too. You put your phone, they have one of those little icons, you put your phone to it, and you could hear the background music while you're reading it.
Oh,
too.
wow.
That was very unique. Yeah.
Something That's Killing the Children. I haven't read this either. I've got the hardback, but I have bought the hardback so I can sit down and read the full. I think is it the first 10 issues or something in the hardback or more?
Yes. Oh yeah. I got that one too with the mask on the front cover.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're coming out with another. They're coming out for solicitation for that second. There's going to be the same book, same 10 chapters, but it's going to be, I think, a different cover inside the book.
Right.
So I'm going to order that too. But Erica Slaughter, the main character, she's just, wow, what a character. Another street level. She takes no prisoners. She knows she does the job that other people in her group don't really want to do. She has her own way of doing things. And it's just, to me, it's just the breakout character of the year. And they're showing her origin now. Her family was killed by this monster that only kids can see. She was like under 10 years old. Yeah. And she killed that monster. And that's how she got into the House of Slaughter.
Okay.
So it's a great storyline.
So I've not, like I said, I've not read it, Ephraim, but I am going to get into it. So without spoiling too much for us, does she have powers or anything? Is she got superpowers? She's just a normal human, is she?
Who's been trained to fight monsters that only children can see.
Wow.
Adults can't see happening until I think towards the end of the book, the series, recently the family, I think the parents were able to see this monster because of shock, but right. These monsters just, attack children. And she's, there's other ones like her too that go out and kill these monsters.
Yeah.
But she's like the kick-ass character of the series, take no prisoners. I don't care what the establishment that she's in says, she's doing things her way. And she always does the right thing, but almost like Wolverine, the best he is at what he does.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to reading that. I will have a read and I'll let you know what I think.
Okay.
Right then. So my next two, I'm going to test you.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Do you know these characters?
That's Marvel Boy on the left.
Yeah.
I think he has a different name now. I don't remember what it is.
So Marvel Boy is one of my favorite characters. So when I first started reading him, he was in the original series of Guardians of the Galaxy. And he's got a tremendous backstory in that basically, in that version, he was put in a spaceship to travel space, and he basically gets lost in, a bit like Buck Rogers. He gets lost in time and then kind of appears in the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of era. He's been through lots of different versions. This version started off as Marvel Boy, and then he became Justice, I think, later on. Was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real name Van Sastrovic.
Yes.
I just loved the character. So back when I was reading, like I say, the New Warriors in particular, I loved his power set. He's basically a fanboy. He's desperate to join the Avengers, which he finally does in the end. In the future, he actually finds and wields Captain America's shield.
Yes.
But in this particular image I put on there was just such a tremendous story. So basically, he's a victim of abuse, and his dad beats him and his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular series, he loses his cool, as it were, and ends up unfortunately killing his dad using his telekinesis powers. And there was a whole storyline about how he kind of goes to court and ends up in jail and all kinds of stuff. And it was just, I remember reading it as a young lad and just thinking what a hard-hitting, amazing story and how brave it was to put something like that in comics at the time. He ends up in a relationship with Firestar.
Firestar.
Yeah. So yeah, brilliant character. Loved reading him in the day. I have lost touch a little bit with him now. I know he was in Avengers Academy for a while, but I'm not sure if he's in a series at the moment. But yeah, love the character.
You mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy. We're talking about the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I remember Vance Astrick, I think his last name was.
Yeah, it's either Astric or Astrovic, I think, or something.
Yeah. I like that character in Guardians of the Galaxy because one, it was the character that, like Marvel Boy, but he had to wear an outfit where if he had any air that would rip his suit, I think he would die.
That's right. Yeah.
And I loved him with the Captain America shield. I was like,
Yeah.
that is awesome. I remember that. Yes.
So you're right. So when he first came into Guardians, because he was technically so old, he was encased in like an adamantium shell or something costume, and if it got breached, he basically started to age horrendously or something.
Yep.
Yeah, great story.
Yeah.
The next character is an interesting one. I've put a few different versions of him on there. And this is Captain Marvel, or Genesis Vell, who's Captain Marvel's son.
Okay.
And again, just a character I absolutely loved reading back in the day. And he went through all kinds of different variations. He started off, that little image in the bottom corner there, he started off as kind of a very cocky superhero. He's got the nega bands like his dad and all the rest of it. He then develops cosmic awareness, a bit like the Silver Surfer kind of thing. And he started being written by, I think it was Peter David.
Wow.
And they basically did this big, long storyline over a couple of years where basically because he had cosmic awareness, it sent him mad. And because he could see all things and all eventualities and things like that. And it was just amazing. Absolutely brilliant series. I think he's still about in various forms. Again, he was in the Thunderbolts for a while, I think. But again, just a character I loved. And that center image there with him in the green costume, that was a series that was designed by Alex Ross. So Alex Ross came up with that outfit.
I don't know much about the character, to be honest with you. One character I know who he was and who his father was, but yeah, I mean, I like this pick because it's something new that I don't know about. So.
Well worth going back. And I don't know if there's something happening with this character, because the reason it's jumped in my mind when I was planning this conversation with you was I was in my local comic shop just this week, and I noticed they've got a bumper edition comic on the shelves with all of his back issues in, or his backstory. So normally they do that when there's about to be some kind of, he's coming back for some reason. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for him. He might be coming back soon, I think. Oh. Right. Your last one and my last one.
Okay.
We both picked the same character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now I wondered from your image, Ephraim, if we've picked the same character, but perhaps from different storylines. Tell us a bit about your feelings about Nightwing.
Well, I think if anybody should take up the mantle of Batman, it should be Nightwing.
Yeah.
Other people have, and I just think he is so true to himself and who he represents, almost like Captain America.
Yeah.
Just his inner strength. And a couple of years ago, when he got shot in the head, he became Rick Grayson, I think. He did just the way this character is portrayed. I'm not much of a DC fan. I don't read that many DC books, but the one that I always go towards is Nightwing, because I just love what they do with his character. Just his inner strength and who he, his belief in the system or his inner faith or whatever. I just really enjoy this character. Like I said, I think if anybody, who knows, there'll be other Batmans on the line, but he should be the Batman in the future.
So he was Batman for a period.
He was, yes.
Yeah, it was after Batman Rip, and I think there was him and Damian Wayne for a while. It was Batman Robin was brilliant.
Yeah.
So I love the character. I've always liked Nightwing from back in the days when he was in the Titans, Teen Titans and whatnot. Really enjoyed that. But then this image I put up is from the Chuck Dixon series of Nightwing from years ago, which is just phenomenal. I mean, the first, 30, 40 issues of that are absolutely brilliant. And it basically picks up when he's moved to, and I'll get the pronunciation wrong, is it Bloodhaven? I think the city.
Yeah, that's right.
So he moves from Gotham to Bloodhaven, and it's phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, the storytelling in it is absolutely phenomenal. And I love the art. Absolutely love the art. So yeah, tremendous character. And like you say, if we ever get to a point where, Bruce Wayne hangs up the cape, as it were, I'd love to see Nightwing take it up permanently.
So do I. Now, who would be his Robin?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch the Titans TV
Oh
series?
yeah, I'm watching season 3 right now. I'm like right in the middle of season 3.
Yeah,
And even that portrayal of him is like, wow. So to me, it's spot on.
Yeah,
an actor. Yeah.
So that's season 3 has literally come out today for us in the UK.
Okay.
So I'm going to start catching up on that. But yeah, I loved seeing him in the costume at the end of season 2. It was just brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so that's your top 5. Now, you were a bit naughty, Ephraim, and sent another one, didn't you? An honourable mention.
Yeah.
But I'm going to allow it because we've both picked the same character, right?
No way.
And I've picked an honourable mention as well.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you've picked good old Ben Grimm.
God, I've always loved Ben Grimm. I mean, my first comic book I think that I enjoyed the most was Fantastic Four. Just the dynamics of the family and just how Ben Grimm, I mean, when he first became the thing, I go, God, him to end up like this. I mean, he was tortured.
Oh, yeah.
His character was tortured. Who wants to look like this? But his never ending, doesn't give up mentality. He used to be a football player, American football, and, a pilot, an air jockey pilot, and just his strength, and that he found love with Alicia Masters. Yeah. And I remember this one particular series is when he fought Wolverine, and Wolverine went berserk, and he popped his claws and he scratched his face.
Yeah, I remember that.
All like the shells, it was, some of the chunks came off, and it was like blistering. He had to wear a helmet for a while. I go, man. And he's the only guy that can beat the Hulk on a regular basis. He just beat him like about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I just love his character. I know he's a superhero, but to me, he's more like a street level because he lives Yangtze Street gang that always used to pick on him. I still love those segments. Yeah. That's why I picked him as an honorable mention. I just really related to this character, for decades.
He's a tragic character, really, isn't he? When you think about the Fantastic Four, the rest of them could switch the powers on and off, apart from him. So he's, I love the character as well.
About 2 years ago, Reed's children and some other, they called the Future Foundation, they found a way to revert him to normal for 1 year, for 1 day a year.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and then they didn't realize because of that 1 day a year, he would only age that 1 day.
Right.
There was a future Fantastic Four book where he was around like hundreds of years later because he didn't age because of that one. He would just age that 1 day a year.
Oh, I didn't realize that about.
Yeah, I was like, huh. And they don't mention it anymore.
Yeah.
But I go, but yeah, that's the reason,
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've picked Invincible, Mark Grayson. This is a series that I picked up late in the game, really. I think I'd heard lots of good things about it. And Image were doing this incredible thing where they do kind of compendiums. I think they did it for The Walking Dead and they did it for Invincible, where you would get an obscene amount of issues. I think it was like 50 issues in one massive volume. So I picked up all 3 volumes. So I had the complete series. I couldn't put it down. I just absolutely love it. I love the storyline. I love the violence in it. I think there's some tremendous battle scenes in it. What I really like about it, and yes, they might bring them back in the future, I guess, but what I really like about it is it's a complete story that actually had the courage to kind of end it and show you where he goes to in the future and his children and all the rest of it.
Oh, wow.
I just love it. Absolutely love it. Have you read the series?
Okay, I'm going to jump on your side. I've never read a book of Invincible. I know what it's about. I watched a TV show that came out. I was like, wow, my cousin was trying to read this book. It's so good. It's so good. But it's like over 100 issues now, right?
Yeah. But I think the full series.
I have to read all those issues because when I start reading something, I want to finish it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I know this character and this is a great choice.
Yeah. I would recommend if people are, because I think a lot of people will have watched the cartoon and decided they're quite interested in it. I would recommend picking up the compendiums because you can get them relatively cheap. And like I say, if you get all 3 compendiums, you get the entire story. It'll take you a long time to read because it's about 130 issues or something.
Yeah.
But well worth it. Just an absolutely tremendous series. So there we are. From that's our favorite characters. I think there's some good picks there, some good choices.
Yep, great picks. I think, like I said, but we could choose, like I said, down the line. Maybe we'll do another top 5.
Yeah,
There's so
I'm
many.
interested in villains.
Yeah, we should
I
do
think,
top 5 villains. That's a good one. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe he's look at maybe he's one of our next videos, next top 5 villains or something.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Ephraim. Some superb picks there, some really interesting characters. If I can just encourage anybody that's watching to please go and check out Past Point One Comics. I think have you hit 500 subs now, Ephraim?
Yeah, I'm doing a giveaway. My latest video, I'm giving away a comic book. It's a Hulk with Spider-Man on the cover, CBCS 9.8. So it's still going on for about another week and a half.
Brilliant.
And I'll ship it to anybody. If you win, Peter, leave a comment. I'll ship it to you. It's not a problem.
Tremendous. So please go and check out Ephraim. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And we'll catch you next time. So thank you very much, Ephraim, and take care.
Take care, Peter.